said, hey, what's your number? And then I said, is this you asking for my number? She was like, yes. She called. And she was like, I want to help y'all because they got a lot of women, who, what happened? A lot of women who don't want to get married. Well, they want to marry, but they want it to be perfect. Like first date, check their credit, check their background, all this good stuff like that. I'm like, well, that's one way.
But that's offensive.
You don't even know him like that.
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
Invested anything in a person, and then you want to. That's personal.
Yeah.
That's something that you would ask through time as you get closer and closer, and feeling like there may be some long term,
Yeah, but I guess they've spent enough time, kissing frogs, and they're trying to figure out a formula to get to the princess. Maybe.
But I think too that we wait. I don't think that should be something that you ask right away. But I think we are guilty of waiting too long.
That part.
When we've invested too much.
That part.
Into a person.
You recording? All right, here we go. Welcome to episode 2 of Better Marriage Daily, where we love each other in spite of each other. And that in spite of each other will become so much clearer in the episodes to come. So today we are talking about, first of all, I'm Sean Ardoin.
And I'm Vanessa.
Vanessa what?
Ardoin.
Come on now. All right. So that's a hustle.
Call me V.
Yeah, right here. Call her V. And I call her Bay and Hey. And what else? Whoo, Lord. we got some names for each other, man. Funny names. They'll come through as we go. But today we were thinking about what the second day topic could be. And V was saying that question that came through yesterday, the suggestion that came through yesterday, about, what about you bringing the trauma in your early life to the marriage, and what about that? And by that, we mean like most people don't even deal with the trauma before they get into another relationship, or deal with the trauma and find out why they are who they are in the course of what's the word I'm looking for? In the realm of the relationship, what?
Or not knowing that you've experienced trauma before you go into a marriage. Not having no idea.
Right.
That what you've experienced is trauma. Because that's important.
Yeah. So let's just talk about it. So she wanted to talk about it, so I'm gonna let her start. So we got married, and then years passed.
Years. I would say decades.
There we go with that 2 decades.
2 decades.
Come on.
At least. And I did not realize that I did experience trauma. It was trauma from, I would say it wasn't childhood, it was right at 18.
You want to share with them? We said we're gonna be open. She's like after graduation.
After I graduated, I was 18 years old, and a few months later, I found out that I was pregnant.
Slow down. Why don't you go through that part? Because they got a whole bunch of women out there, and I've watched women react when you told them that story about giving up your power. So start there.
At 18, dating, and had been with my boyfriend for a couple of years, and one thing led to another. Found out that I was pregnant, and just realizing at that age, when you are thinking about your future, thinking about going to college and making all of these steps plans into adulthood, and then you are, I guess I want to say hit for me because it was a hit. and finding out that that I was pregnant, and realizing also later that I had given away my power to someone else, which caused me to be a single parent, basically doing everything on my own. Did not get married, and was a single parent and doing everything. Of course, God was there with me, but doing, living life, taking care of my child and myself on my own. So, years later into adulthood and marriage, after we got married, and maybe I said 2 decades, maybe I realized that everything that I had gone through was really traumatic. And that's how I brought a lot of my issues into the marriage. Talked previously about the trust, why I had a wall up around me when I got married to this man right here, who is, he gives you his heart, his all in all, and I could not do it. I just didn't trust him, but I didn't know that I wasn't trusting him until God brought it to me several years ago. So it just made me, God just brought me through a whole thing, and just,
And like what ways you didn't trust?
well, I didn't trust, even though you showed me that you were there for me and you had my best interests at heart, that you loved me and you were going to take care of me. It was kind of like I had to see it, because you telling me didn't change anything. I was always in the back of my mind, not really thinking that it wasn't going to work, but it had become a a crutch, or a defense mechanism for me to hold these walls. But I didn't realize I didn't trust you. That the whole issue was trust, and the root of that was abandonment. So God just revealed all of that to me. That is not anything, and I was shocked.
You feel comfortable talking about who abandoned you? Like the abandonment, like in depth? Because we really, because it's all on you. It's because it's not like that today, and so you can share it.
Today it's awesome, but of course, my son's dad, you know, he just wasn't present, you know, emotionally, financially, uh, for me and for my son at times. So I had to do what I had to do. And, God stepped in and took care of us to the point to where I didn't need child support, anything like that. I was blessed to have a really good job to take care of my son and myself. And, but the abandonment, of course, was him. And then years later, family, that just, it's like the male figures in my family kind of abandoned me. What kind? Not kind of, but did. I feel like they abandoned me. I felt that way, but didn't have language for it for years. So leading up to us getting married, I just, I built this wall. Ooh, bless your heart.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying. But because you kind of skirted it. You don't want. You don't want to. Okay, woof, man, this is good because Oh, I can't wait till you feel comfortable because that's gonna free some people. So yeah, so you got these people, who you felt should have your back, felt should have you, and then in different ways and at different levels, they abandon.
Right.
They're still, and some of them still present, but abandoned. Not there for you. Now, granted, The beautiful thing is that today, all those relationships are repaired.
Oh,
Yay, look at God, go God.
praise
But
God for
but
that.
for a long time, though, that was how you filtered relating to me,
Right.
which was a problem for me because what?
Which served me well.
Yes, absolutely.
Which
Absolutely.
served me well through the years because that kept me from being in relationships that would just,
The riffraff.
yes, like I would say, that kept all of the riffraff away because the way that I walked through, you know, my world was,
And I don't think we told them what you did for what you retired from. Tell them what you retired from. I said you cussed and fought for a living, but nobody understood what that was.
my career was in corrections. So I worked in the jail for 26 years. And that served me well as well. So,
I mean, if you're running in a jailhouse, you can run in the streets. What you said to me? Y'all, look, side note, let's just be funny. I threw a party for in 2000 at the Y2K. So I threw a party, right? And so
you may not know what
Y2K, that's when we thought the world was going to shut down whenever the clock struck over, when the clock switched over to 12:01 at midnight, well, into the next day, January 2000. We thought that the computers were all going to freeze. And like, I was really hoping my student loans would just be forgiven. So everybody was throwing Y2K parties. So we threw the Y2K party and I play Zydeco music. So we got, all the bands, me and three other people, and this place was packed, right? I said for us, 1,000 people, right? Chock full. I got a table, for my family. So her and her sisters are there. And one of my friends from high school, shall remain nameless, his girlfriend goes over to the table and like just sits down in a not so respectful manner. When they would say, "Hey, this is so and so," see this, and so then it is a thing. And so I'm in the crowd, but I'm moving through, and I notice I have a feeling because with her I always have feelings. I need to go find her. Let me go find her. So I go over there, and I see that it's a big traca, right? And then nobody's fighting, but he's now come to the rescue of, his girlfriend, and he's talking to them. Now they all work at the jail. So I'm walking up, and this is what I'm seeing. Whole bunch of neck popping, whole bunch of talking, and I get close and I hear them all saying, "Oh, so you gonna hit me? We work at the jail. You ain't saying nothing." I was like, ooh. So I diffuse because I'm a diffuser. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I diffuse. And that's why I say she didn't have no problem with riffraff because she was hard. She was hard. I always saw straight through that. But she was hard. She ain't had no problem. Her biggest thing, and I know we got sidetracked, but it's funny because you can get to know who we are. But her biggest thing was always, I got money.
Oh,
I mean, I was like, if I hear I got money one more time, it's like, we gonna just, oh, I got money. I'm like, babe, I'm just telling you, I got money. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because like somebody didn't want to let you in a gig one time. Somebody's like, Sean, your girlfriend. I was like, okay, well, let me go over there. And she's like, no, I'm fine. I said, no, I don't want you to pay. I don't want you to pay because you my spug. You my spugger dump. Spunk, you know what I'm saying? You my spugger. You ain't paying to get in there. And I ain't walking you through the back door. We walk through the front. Well, I got money. I just want to let you know I ain't come here for that. I don't need that. That's before we got like tight though. And I was like, man, I mean, I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love it. Independence. So so you're dealing with me through that jail, and she's working in a jail with men and women. So fellas, what do you do when your wife's job is in a situation in which you don't think she's safe? So I had to tell her, I said, well, look, you were doing that a long time before I got here. So I'm not gonna ask you to quit it. And at the same time, we was all working on our stuff. I just had a little upheaval in my life. So I was like, well, I don't have the money to tell you to quit. We all got to keep on working in this camp. And I said, but you've been doing it forever.
I had a lot invested as well.
Yeah.
I didn't want to quit.
Yeah, she had no desire to quit. She loved what she did. And so she's got a thing where you got disappointment and letdowns and abandonment issues with the men in her life. And then she works at a place in which she's working with the majority of the time, because she's so strong and so commanding, she's working a lot with the men more than the women. I mean, like, and what you call a picket. So like when she worked graveyards, and I've never seen how this looked, and I'm glad I've never seen it, because it's like she said she's in the picket, which is like a raised platform, and there's about 50 men in bunks, and she's 48 to 60 men in bunks, and she's locked in with them by herself on a picket. Just imagine that, husbands. Not secure.
No doors to the picket.
No doors, no guns, no way to defend, just on the fact that they understand that a radio and telephone is all she got. So there was a lot of times we first started dating that I'd be like, "Ooh, I'm just saying a prayer, extra prayer for my baby," but this is her everyday thing. So she's in the jail, in a situation where she's seeing men interact, and there's men who have, for whatever reason, made wrong choices, bad choices, left their families to, with bad choices. Some, and again, there's room for second chances. I'm not pointing the finger at people, but for lack of a better term, these are people who were not, doing the thing that men should do. So then I got to come in through all of that. So talk about some of the ways you didn't trust me and me in our relationships because of that. If you have a problem, we can start with sex. We can start with that, because that helped me get into the mindset, and it made me feel a lot better. Because what you said, see them things all day long. I don't want to see one when I come home.
When that is your career, you see so much, and because I worked with men all the time, I had to learn how. I didn't know how to separate what I saw. And even though I loved my husband, he was still a man. You know what I'm saying? And so there were times where I had I fought to separate that part of my life. It was difficult. It really was, because in a day's time, I would see sometimes 3, 5,
10,
penises. You know what I'm saying? And coming home.
See, now you not they getting how you told me, yeah.
Coming home like, the last thing I want to
say, bro.
Yes,
move that rock. Go with rock. I know where this is going, and I ain't trying to go there because I done seen 5 today. I don't even want to see. I know this is mine, but I don't want it right now.
I need a pass.
Yeah. Oh man, that was so hard. So hard. But anyway, so sex is one way. What are some other ways?
Just being in that atmosphere, and just trying to navigate that, because I saw so much just bad things, but so much for many, they could have made better choices and been better men, but they were not. And I got to see the worst of humanity in there. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like way in the back of my head that, you can't trust, even though you love him and you know that he loves you, you can't just put your all in all, your whole heart yet. You know what I'm saying? So I learned to trust you. Things started getting better.
You trusted me to a point.
To a point.
Yeah.
So it's, and how you won me over was just being consistent. You know what I'm saying? Always having my back, not just saying things, but you did. You put action to it and consistently. So that won me over to where slowly, through that and prayer and God showing me different things about myself, things that I needed to let go, that you were able to win me over, really.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on now.
Now today, I don't have any doubts about anything. I totally trust you. So yeah,
Yeah.
you did it.
Yeah, because that's a big thing, because like, we're dealing in this thing. So her trauma is men dropping the ball and abandonment. So that's her trauma. She's coming to relationships. She don't trust me in the finances. She don't trust me in the bedroom. She don't trust me in a relationship. I mean, which was decision making, which was very sexy to me at first. The "I don't need you" part was really sexy, because I had just gotten out of a relationship in which that person just needed me for everything. And so I was like, well, that was really cool. The complete opposite, And so I get to the point with somebody who doesn't need anything. But because I'm always on the road, I was like, well, I want a strong woman, and I ain't scared of a strong woman, and so I was like, well, when I'm on the road, I don't have to worry about my house, because I know she's gonna have it taken care of. But it's like, it's a thing where that's a great part of it, but then now I gotta accept everything else that comes along with that. Like all that BS that goes with it that I ain't even produce. I had no part. I had no part in that BS, but I had to eat it, right? I had to deal with it, smell it, all that stuff. And so I'm dealing with her through that, helping to just try to survive. Because I mean, when I got married, which we can talk about my trauma. When I got married, divorce was never an option for me. And so I was like, okay, so I have been let down so many different ways by so many people, close family members, friends, or people I thought were friends, forever and ever. And I'm the type of person that I give my all. If I'm for you, I'm for you. And, and that was another thing that got me, because you used to say, look, if I'm for you, I'm for you.
Oh, absolutely.
You said, I love hard.
Today. I love hard. So
right?
You won my heart. I love hard.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Like I tell, and see today, like, we one of our friends was explaining my wife to his new fiance, and he says, yeah, Miss B, she's always got a smile on her face. She's always got a smile on her face. I say, bruh, that wasn't always the case. Matter of fact, whenever I met her, she didn't even really smile. She would go, and I used to put a hand down. Girl, don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what? So my trauma, the filter of my trauma is, like I said, all of my relationships, people just like, just leave me hanging, cut, all of that, man, just really bad. But it never stopped me, even to this day, it never stopped me from being who I am, which is a very giving person. And, if I'm for you, I'm for you. I'll always be trying to help you, always be trying to, to connect you and be the plug or whatever. But for me, I evaluated relationships. So coming up for me, I was never really in relationships. I was the other guy a lot, not from marriages, but like in relationships. And I would listen to these people. And I guess you said earlier, me listening was so sexy, in my 20s and 30s for women, obviously, because the men, I guess, were not listening at all, Hey, so it's still sexy, you know what I'm saying? So fellas, if you're out there, shut up and listen, ask questions and go, okay, really?
Don't try to fix it.
Oh man, that's but you're giving away this. Okay, so since you brought it up, I'm a fixer.
Yes.
So we'll dedicate a whole episode to that. You know, because she was like, I don't want you to fix it, hollering at me. I'm like, well, you asked me. You know I'm a fixer. Don't ask me to something that I can fix. If you know what I'm saying, don't. Oh, and so then now our words is, and we'll share it later. But now my word is, am I just listening or am I fixing it? And then she said, you just listen. I was okay, cool. So for me, my biggest thing was when I get married, after watching failed relationships, watching relationships that were ongoing but failing, and then my own parents' relationship, with my dad, the generational curse in my family is the philandering, is the I don't know if philandering is a good word, but the love of other people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, I'm married, but what's up? And I saw from an early age what that does to a household. And as the experts say, you're either gonna repeat it or be the total opposite. And I always said from the time when I understood that I was gonna be the total opposite. So I don't complain about the way I was raised and my upbringing in the home, because everything that I went through, I'm the sum total of my experiences, and it enables me to be the husband I am to my wife. So I had to make her understand, when she's talking about, I don't want to see no more weenies. I'm like, but you got to understand, you my source. I'm not going to go out there and satisfy this urge because I know what that's going to do to the house, even though you ain't taking care of me. You know what I'm saying? And so that was a big thing. That was a big thing for a long time. But it's who I am. My trauma is I want everything to be perfect. I want everything to be great. I want to do whatever I got to do to make sure that she's happy, and just push, push, push. So that's my trauma. And I had to understand that I was loving her through the filter of my past and say, okay, well, you're not cheating, so she's not hurting. You're not being this way, so she's not being that way. So you don't have to push. And if she says she's okay, even though you think she may not be, you got to rock with it. So my filter, my adjustment, my pivot was to just back up and go, okay, I guess I'm being too much. I had a smothering type of love because I was very upfront. Them conversations we talked about in the last episode, I was very upfront that I love kissing, I love hugging, I love touching, I love being close. And she said she ain't had no problem with that.
Mm-hmm. Until I did.
Man, look, we almost didn't get married. I was like, yo, I didn't sign up for this. I told you this is what and she's like, but I'm trying. I was like, no, you not. Because remember also we said the other time, her first answer is always no. I mean, like up until a couple years ago, I would reach out to touch my wife. You see, she jumped. She just jumped, just now, didn't she? I didn't look because I don't want to be disappointed on the camera. But I reach out to touch my wife, and y'all would swear I was whipping up butt. If people didn't know us, they swear I was whipping up butt. I'd be like, hey, she put them karate moves on me like we at the gym. I'm like, man. So, so there was a lot of trauma. So, two people come into a relationship and they bring baggage. They bring baggage. And I guess the number one job as a spouse is to go through that luggage and figure out what's in it. Then once you know what's in the luggage, in the baggage, now you can act accordingly. Because after we had been together for 2 years, we were about to get married or whatever, and I was like, hey, I ain't signed up for this. And I was like, well, I kind of know her baggage. I didn't know it was that big. I didn't know it was that deep. I ain't know either. Ain't no excuse. Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
I didn't know either.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. You didn't know.
I did not. I said.
You did.
I did not know.
Which y'all, oh my God. Side note, and we will, y'all know this is how we roll. Side note, I will always point out things. See, she just said she did not know. We've been married 22 years. 22 years. It took her 22 and 3 months for her to admit stuff like that. Right?
But it took a long time for that stuff to be revealed.
No, it's like, you moved this, baby. You moved that. No, I didn't move that. I didn't move that. The yellow one is still here. What do you mean? I did. The yellow one is still here. What do you mean? No, baby, the black one. You moved the black one. I'm telling you, I did not move the blue one. I didn't move the blue one. Ladies, y'all are really good at circle arguing. Circle arguing is a thing. I call it, it's circle arguing because here's the point. And you do everything but the point. Now, there's some men who argue like that, and I look at them, I'll be like, come on, bro. Come on, man. That ain't what we do. We don't do that. But again.
The trauma, a lot of the trauma part.
A lot of the trauma.
I did not know. I didn't know that I was carrying all that. It was God that revealed that. Well, you bringing light to some things, and then in prayer and just trying to figure everything out, then it was revealed to me.
Yeah, because that was my thing.
Because I had no idea. You trust me?
If I'm down for you, I'm down for you. I work at the jail. We trust each other at the jail. We trust each other. We get in life or death situation. We trust each other. What you mean? I trust you. Yeah. Really? Okay, well, I'm going to do this. Well, you ain't talk to me about that. Won't. So, that's a thing. And then I didn't realize until you brought this subject up. So I was processing this as we're talking, that I was dealing with you through my trauma. I thought it just made me a better husband because I was able to, because I was very, very set on making this marriage work. But also that put a lot of pressure on you because I was always trying to make this marriage work. And I'm gonna tell y'all, we say that we're Christ-centered. We don't use Christians today because that's such a varied term. We're Christ followers, and we tell people in the first 10 years when they say, "Man, y'all like the perfect couple," we like, "Yeah," and then we didn't have God in the middle, we'd have been divorced. We wouldn't have made it past the terrible twos. we wouldn't have made it past the terrible twos. I'm telling you right now. Because I had to go to God. I had to go to God in it. And so I'm loving her through all of that. Everything is cool. And then the biggest problem that I saw from the beginning was that we are opposite to what you think our roles are. Generically speaking, men don't like to talk and aren't verbally acute, and women always want to talk and are in tune with their emotions. Total opposite. So I couldn't get her to be happy about anything ever. And then I couldn't get her to talk about anything ever. And because especially hard things. And then I started getting better, and I'd be like, you know what? So you think about it and let me know. And months would pass. And then I come back and what about this? Oh, I ain't thought about that. And then she laughed.
I did. But what do we learn though about my personality is that for me, when something needed to be, well, first of all, you have to give me a schedule. We learned that.
Oh yeah.
In 5 days, we just could.
No, not 5 days. No, I'd be like, look, I'm gonna give you 3 days.
Yeah.
Give you 3 days. Or some things are important. Hey, I need to know tomorrow. Think about this.
But what I realized too is that being not forced, but being urged to give you an answer.
That's forced. Because you know I wasn't gonna let it go. It was forced. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay. Being forced to give you an answer a lot of
prompted strongly.
It did. Yeah.
Prompted strongly.
It forced me to just say something instead of thinking about it.
Yeah, because you were dealing with it like a dude. You were dealing like a dude. Oh, you gonna make me think about it? Well, what I'm thinking right now is blah, 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 blah.
It was bad.
And then because I'm a talker, And I can express my feelings and I can talk through and you can't confuse me with your words. I was like, so what you saying is this? Is that what you're saying?
It came out harsh.
But it came out wrong. I mean, I didn't really mean it that way. Were you apologizing? No. I mean, I did mean it, but I'm just saying I ain't mean it like that. Well, you meant it. No, I didn't mean it. I just said it, but I didn't mean it. But
I really, I realized for me, and you have to understand this too, that I wasn't, for so many years, I didn't have to answer to anybody.
I had to answer to nobody.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I didn't have to answer to anybody. Then all of a sudden I'm married and now I have to answer. So it was.
Well, not have to. Don't let the people think I'm not now because of the relationship and because of the way you feel about the relationship. You are urged to answer.
That's right.
There you
I
go.
didn't have to
Because you ain't got to do nothing but stay black and die.
It was to answer in a way that didn't in a way that wasn't lashing out.
Yeah, because she would answer, and the answer she gave was to lash out, not to answer the question.
Yeah. So then I realized that I needed to process things first so that I can communicate my thoughts, my heart in the right way that wouldn't be lashing out to him. I learned that. So with the time constraints and all of that, I was like, okay, so how do you feel about, okay, V, how do you feel about that? He needs an answer. So this is how I feel. And we would have, conversation about it.
Yeah. Because I was always wanting to know then.
Yes.
And I'm trying to make sense of stuff. And I'm like, okay, A plus B equals C, right? Because on the other side, I am analytical. I am the dude. And she does have more of an emotional quotient, but she would never tap into that. And she was living her adaptive lifestyle of adapting that hardcore thing and those hardcore traits. Right. And so we were in here just like boom, boom, boom. And, we're rounding out the end of this one. So we'll just give you a teaser. We're going to have a single woman on to talk about how some women are choosing to not be married. And that is a totally legit thing, but we'll get into the whys. And I think one of the reasons is because like she was saying, she was living that lifestyle before. She was totally happy and content, but because it wasn't even an option.
Yeah.
It was something that maybe happened, but she wasn't thinking about it and she wasn't worried about it. And if somebody didn't whenever somebody presented something she just did not even halfway care for.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's go. That's the way I live my life. Like,
boom.
Gotta go.
Done. Yeah. And so we could talk about that. We can get some insight on that because and for the men, they would tell me, you need to talk to the men. And yet for the men, we need to understand that, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. First of all, unfortunately for women, we have a large dating pool. We have a very large dating pool because of war and incarceration and all kinds of stuff like that. We have a large dating pool. And so I think the fact that we have so many options causes a lot of men to not commit because they're thinking about the what ifs and the what is that trade up thing? What level up? Well, I want to hold this because I might have something better down the street. And so they have commitment issues. Some of them have commitment issues because they're worrying about FOMO, fear of missing out. There could be somebody finer, cuter, taller, richer around the corner, but But I will tell you, I will submit to you fellas that if you find somebody you can grow with, if you find somebody who has a willing spirit, because for all of the barriers that she did have, I could see in our relatings when we got engaged up to getting married that she had a willing spirit. Even though in here things were just fighting, she had a willing spirit to try to figure it out. And so when I saw that gave me peace to say, okay, well, I know I'm not perfect. So I'm going to go ahead on and rock it out. and I decided to make March the 3rd the best day of my life, and walk down the aisle. And the Bible said when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, but nobody ever talks about the second part. Said then he receives favor from the Lord. And let me tell you something, that favor is strong. Whenever we agree, nothing we can't have. When we agree and don't doubt, there's nothing we can't have. See, it's just getting that agreement part, because we 23 years later doing the podcast. I'm just saying. Fella, that agreement hard to come by sometimes. Hard to come by. But once you can get it, boy, it's gone. It's on and popping.
What he's saying is that when he first brought up the subject about doing podcasts, I was like,
Nope. It was a book at first. It was a book.
And that
I said, we're going to write a book. Nope.
Because podcasts, we didn't,
Podcast wasn't there yet, but it was a book. We're going to write a book.
I was like,
I said, yeah, we will.
He brought up podcasts, and I was like, and I have to sit in front of a camera speaking to people? Oh, that's your thing, not mine. Nope.
But fellas, I can just say, if you stay the course, if you believe it, if you feel that that's what you're supposed to be doing, you just come to them, and then after you've brought it to them and got your response, then you take it to your higher power. So whatever your higher power is, I believe it is very, 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 very difficult to get and stay married and stay and be happy in a marriage relationship without having a higher power, like a third powerful party in the middle of that, like to keep it cool. Because if there's not that third power that's bigger than us, then it's just our feelings. It's just what we want and our feelings. And man, can feelings get in the way?
And for us personally.
For us personally, it's God. Holy Spirit's between us all the time, because a lot of this change that you're experiencing on this thing with her happened because I used to always come to her with it. I would go to her with it. I mean, I have my arguments down pat. As y'all can tell, I probably argue really good. Discuss really good, right? So I would come and be like, A plus B equals C, baby. Look, right here.
All the facts.
It's right there. It's all the facts. What's right? So I'd be really, really hot, really, really mad for a long time. And then she ain't doing no better because she don't want to talk about it. We're going back and forth. So then the older person told me, who had been married before, told me, said, you know what I do, man, is I go to God with it. Everything I want to tell her, I tell God. So we would be talking and she would say something cocked up from the rocks up. And I'd be like, okay. And then when I'm taking my shower, man, Lord, I'm talking to this woman and trying to tell, we do all this stuff, and it's going to be like this for the rest of my life. I don't want it to be like this for the rest of my life, Lord. I'm saying, come on, just soften her heart, just help her to tell, yep. And then, you know what? Stuff started changing. And I never told her I did that. Never told her. I just took it to the Lord in prayer. So if you got a higher power, if you got a meditation that you got to do or whatever it is, you have to be able to step back from it and look at it from a different perspective to be able to keep that thing going. And our way is through Christianity. But anyway, so that's why we keep referencing. That's why I had to say that, because I don't want nobody to be put off by the fact that our way is that way. Because there are many ways for you to stay in a relationship. You can get into any way of life and have it give you a softer, less rigid stance on things so that you can marry. Because marriage is a give and take. And what I like to say with us, it's a give and give. It's a give and give. If you're always giving, it's going to be given unto you, so you don't ever have to take. Because that give and take thing, I want to rework that. It's give and give. Because give and take implies somebody's losing. And we don't want that. So we got to give and give. So we love on each other. We try to out-love each other every single day. You know what I'm saying? I keep touching her because she don't move no more when I touch her. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so hard. It's such a, and maybe we'll talk about that next time. Fellas, what do you do when it seems like your spouse don't desire you? Whoo-wee. Can we talk about that next time? Oh, Lord. Look, she's like, no, no. All right, y'all. So until next time, I'm Sean.
I'm V.
And we'll catch y'all next time on Better Marriage Daily, where we love each other in spite of each other. Peace. Say it again.
I said once you started to take your concerns to God in prayer, and you didn't bring it to me first, but you took it to God in prayer to figure out how to get the language and how to present it to me, then God got my heart ready to receive. You know what I'm saying? And be open to. Because before, for me personally, that was pressure. You know, it was too much pressure. So I would
Fight. No, you didn't run. You fought. You were fighting.
Yeah, fighting. But I fled
Yeah.
mentally, emotionally. That's what I'm
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's a nugget right there.
I fled because it was at the moment it was just too much pressure for me.
Yeah. Well, I thought we were done, but we're gonna end on that note. I ain't gonna say nothing else.